here we are. Week 14 coming up. But I want to start the episode with a little bit of sharing with my friend Christina. Congratulations on going 4-0. I do want to give you credits for that. That's pretty good. I mean, we're not going to talk about your college teams today unless you want to. I'll be crying on today's episode, okay?
Or rant later.
Or getting all pissed off and making our viewers like feel uncomfortable. So I'm going to share a little video with you here. So let me know. One second. Let me know if you can see this screen right here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll turn my volume up so you can hear it.
I'm going to take the 3 points and write the Eagles.
Are you?
Are you?
You know Lamar is...
Are you? Are you? Do you know?
We'll see. This might be when the Eagles...
Right. Just want a little shout out to you on that. So my phrase for today is going to be, are you? If I was smart enough and I had more time in my day, I would have created a little montage with that with different pictures of you, like going, are you? Are you? But I didn't. So, little love to you this week on you're questioning my pick last week, so I appreciate that. I hope you question a few more this week because that means I'm going to win.
I was going off of, Lamar's record against the NFC.
Are you? All right, well, back to regular scheduled programming here.
All right.
Week 14 with the odds couple. Christina's got her first pick. Congratulations again on 4-0. I went 3-1. That now puts us at Christina's winning by 1.
Woohoo, woohoo. All right, so my first pick for the week is the Browns at the Steelers. They just played a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to take the the over of 44. We spent pretty much the first half of the season taking all of Steelers unders. They now can score points. They won a shootout with the Bengals last week. So we're going to say the over of 44. That's what I'm going with. I'm staying away who wins and loses because it's divisional again. So 7 points for the Steelers is a lot. I'm just going to take the over of 44.
I love it, and I'm going exactly there with you because if anybody watched that Monday night game, and specifically if you had the Denver Bronco defense, and you were only up by 10 points on your opponent in fantasy, that was my situation. I was freaking out because Denver couldn't stop the flu. They couldn't stop it. Neither could the Browns. So, fortunately, the Broncos had 2 pick sixes because Jameson's really good at throwing pick sixes. So, I'm blessed and thankful for that because giving up 30-some-odd points or 40-some-odd points, what was that score? 40-something to high 30-something? It was 70-something.
It was 44 to 38. It was literally
82 points. That is insane. And of course,
you know what? I have to say the Browns defense actually did better except for scoring. Jameis just threw 2 really bad passes. You know what though? I'm a Jameis fan now. His preseason or his pregame speeches and his postgame speeches are the best. He didn't even know. He's like, I threw next,
He might not be able to win football games, but he's got a great speech.
He's just so happy. He makes me happy. He had the best quote. What did he say? He said, I'm just praying to God that he delivers me from these pick sixes. I couldn't stop laughing.
He needs some help.
I don't want to throw these anymore.
They had a chance to get closer at the end of the game, and there's that INT in the end zone. And had it not been a linebacker, it would have been another pick six. But the linebacker was slow, and they got him midfield. So So I think with the Browns scoring, and they've done that a couple weeks in a row now. A lot of points. They used definitely a little spark on that team, which is pretty cool to watch. And then we know what the Steelers have been doing.
The Steelers score. Both teams are used to weather, so if there's weather, it's going to score. You got 2 teams that are both in cold weather. So if there happens to be weather in Pittsburgh on Sunday, they should still score. Unless it's rain, then it might be an issue because then they'll just slide and fumble and not be able to kick.
That Buffalo game was a fun one to watch the other night, that's for sure. A lot of frozen. I'm glad I wasn't out there playing it. It's fun watching it. All right, that is the same pick I'm going with. So throw me your second pick.
All right, my second pick is Buffalo Bills at the Rams. I'm really liking Josh Allen, and
Are you?
I am. So I'm going to keep going with the Bills. I think they're going to cover. I think they're a better team. They're clicking on all cylinders. They're peaking, kind of like Philadelphia Eagles are peaking right now. So I am going to say Bills minus 4.5.
All right. Okay, I like it. I'm going to go with the Packers plus 3.5 in Detroit. The reason behind that is the road team has won 4 straight games in that series, so home field advantage hasn't made a difference in the last 4 games, whether Green Bay or Detroit.
And Detroit is getting pretty beat up. A lot of injuries starting to stack up.
They are. Yeah, they are. And then Green Bay has won 5 straight NFC North road games. A little nugget that I had in there as well that I found. So all that leads me to say Detroit's probably going to blow them out and I'll lose the pick. But I'm going with the stats and the trends, and that would say the Packers will cover 3.5, if not outright win. I might even tease a little bit of money on the win if you're betting. Lifts a little bit.
I like it. I like it only because Detroit hasn't covered the last 2 weeks, right? They're still winning. They just are starting to get injured, and that is the issue.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, they got a great 1-2 punch with Gibbs and Montgomery. So, I mean, that's been beneficial because I think that last game they ran the first half with Gibbs and then they threw Montgomery in there and he ran all over them too. So, but the Green Bay's defense is known to stop the run. So
now last week, both Kansas City and Detroit got lucky they didn't lose because who snafu'd at the end of the game both teams screwed up the opposing team. So the Bears mismanaged, and that's why the coach is no longer the coach. He didn't make it I thought he would make it until Monday. He didn't make it till Friday. And it was weird because he had a press conference, and then an hour after the press conference, they fired him. And so you were like, he still has his job. And then all of a sudden, I got a text, he doesn't have a job anymore.
And the Bears had never fired anybody mid-season.
No. And then, what did Kansas City end up? Oh, the Raiders ended up screwing it up. And what made it look worse was the refs called a penalty. We thought it was going to be a false start. And then they convened for like 5 minutes and said, it was an illegal shift and a fumble. So Kansas City gets the ball and it's over. And it's like, what?
I know. You and I were texting because I don't think I was watching the game or something. I was like,
you didn't have the sound on. You're like, I couldn't hear the sound. I was like, but that's not the point. We're all sitting here watching, thinking, and even the announcers was like, so if it's a false start, then, they should get the ball again and just move back 5 yards.
Play
and just kick the field goal.
Actually, poor Raiders on that one. I feel for them on that for sure. All right, what is? Let's see. My next pick is going to, or actually, it's. I did Green Bay, Detroit. Did you just throw that one out there?
Yeah, I just was talking about how Detroit got lucky. But so, who's your third pick?
So my third pick is going to also be. I think. Did you talk about your Chargers yet?
Not yet.
Hey, cool. Well, we're both going with that one. So we're both taking Chargers plus 4 versus Kansas City. So far, Kansas City hasn't covered too many of their games. I do like the Chargers keeping it close. I might even sprinkle a little bit on the win there, even though I don't know if I like that one as much as Green Bay on the win underdog, just because Kansas City, as much as you don't like it, they just know how to win. Play ugly, play sloppy. They will drive down with 2 minutes.
Cover. We're talking about covering here.
I know they're gonna win, but I don't know if they'll cover. So, but it's still. Since they haven't covered very much, I'm going with the Chargers. Plus, I like Justin.
Here's the difference though with this coach and who they got lucky with last week. Harbaugh, as much as it pains me to say, is actually a really, really good coach. Mm-hmm. He's already turned the Chargers in culture around. I think they're ahead of schedule. Should have been here next year, but they're already here. So next year, look for them to dethrone the Chiefs, or at least make it really, really close and make someone be more of a tantrum thrower, namely Patrick Mahomes, because Herbert's a stud, and he actually looks like one. He doesn't sound like Kermit. Like
that division's actually getting pretty good, right? I mean, they've had good runs and good years where it's always been Kansas City, San Diego, Denver, right? And the Raiders historically were always up in that conversation, not recently, but yeah, I like that division a lot because
you got another great coach in Sean Payton. As much as he sometimes irritates me and comes off as kind of brash, but he's a good coach. Like, they won Super Bowl. He had Drew Brees. He was smart when the Dolphins took Dante Culpepper instead of Drew Brees. He took Drew Brees, and I was like, really?
5'9" Drew Brees. Yeah, he also does magic with quarterbacks, so that's
look at Bo Nix. Even though like he had some iffy throws, but that one throw, I think it was for
90-something,
right down the middle. He split the two safeties, and it was right down the middle. I was like, holy shit! If that's not a good pass, but that was perfect.
That was on the line. That was on rope too. Yeah, like that thing.
For a rookie to throw it like that, I'm impressed.
I was sitting on a plane coming into Phoenix, and I was watching that. I was like, oh my God, that was an amazing pass. Right on. All right, what's your fourth pick?
My fourth pick. So Bengals at the Cowboys. Bengals are the best. What did we say they were? 4-8, 5-7, or 4-8? But whatever. They're the best team under 500 that I've seen this season. Most of their games they've lost by under 4 points. 2 of them were by a point. They lost by a point, like it was anybody's ball game. Joe Burrow, I've never seen a guy throw for so many freaking yards. He's averaging 350 yards a game, and they're losing. Like he's having MVP numbers, throwing up 3 touchdowns a game. This. It's like that. Those stats usually come with wins. But the Bengals are the Bengals. Their ownership, kind of sucks, and it kind of reflects on the team. Like, the Steelers are a very, very well-run organization, and Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Reflects in the play. So I'm gonna say Bengals though are gonna beat the Cowboys because they're just better. There's more talent, and what did we say? If the Cowboys could figure out how to get Joe Burrow on their team, it would band-aid a lot. Then Jerry Jones could be the flamboyant, in-your-face kind of person and get the coach, because you've got your superstar quarterback. You've got a coach that's good in Mike McCarthy, who will still bow down to Jerry Jones. But Joe Burrow will cover up a lot because he's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
I agree. Well, I'm going to say, are you? Because I don't know that I necessarily... I think it's going to be based on the mental state of the Bengals. I think the Bengals officially lost their season after last week. I don't think they have a chance to get back into the playoffs no matter how good they are. In fact, I just looked. The Cowboys have a 1-game better record than the Bengals, but that doesn't obviously indicative of who I think is the better team by any stretch of the imagination, because I think the Bengals are. I'm just thinking they've checked out. I'm betting they're going to check out. However, I'm staying away from that game anyways. I'm going with what I don't like to do anyways, but what the hell, why not? 49.5. I'm taking the under because I think the Cowboys are going to run the hell out of it with Dowdle. And I just don't know that Burrows and them are going to show up. They may. But if they don't show up, they may still score 28 points.
I think the offense will show up because you've got Burrow, Jamar Chase. You got superstars on that side of the ball. So I think that side of the ball will show up. And if we're going to go shootout, which is not good for your under.
I think the Cowboys are going to run the ball, try to keep it out of Burrow's hands.
Oh, they're going to have to. That's the only way they can win on that. Yep. They're going to have to be able to run the ball and slow Burrow down, which I don't think they can.
Yeah, I don't predict it to be like a super low score. Like the other day, I took the freaking Cardinals Seahawks over, and the score was like 16-3. I don't see that being that low, but I do know.
It'll probably be like something like
24 to 20.
Bengals will have 21 and the Cowboys will have 17. Something like that. But I'm thinking the Cowboys 10 and the Bengals 21 to 24 points. So I think they beat them more than a touchdown. So that's what I'm thinking.
However, I would have not thought the Broncos when the Browns would have scored 80 fucking 3 points.
Browns actually outplayed them, which was sad, except for the pick sixes.
Exactly. What do you think about college this week, my friend? I mean, besides, I'm not trying to poke your bear on that one, but, I do.
They're still in the playoffs, despite that horrendous loss. It's not happy with the game plan going in. And yes, I defend Ryan Day. I still think he's a good coach. Like, I don't know who they would get unless they get Urban Meyer back, which there's rumors of that, but I don't know how much I believe that. They're saying he wants to coach again. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how much I believe that. Like,
I guess as long as he can go to fraternity bars and sit in. I guess that'd be a priority.
He didn't get along with the people who were the new power in Ohio State, like the president or whatever, but that person is now gone, whoever he didn't get along with, and I'm like, whatever. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. Urban is now a commentator with Fox. I think he's happy there. I would love it if he came back because Urban brings, but would he want to and deal with the way the NIL is and the transport path? I mean, you had Saban who retired early for that reason because he didn't want to deal with that anymore because he said it was too much of a hassle. It's not like you're being more of a mentor or a coach, for these men on and off the field because now you're having to convince them to stay and pay them, it's almost like a professional level. Whereas you can't do that.
It's like running a business now, right? With CEOs and like the players actually become executive managers and things like that. Whereas back in the college days, right, it was like you use that as a pedestal to make your money down the road.
Oh yeah.
Now you're using this today to make your money, and if the coach doesn't play you, that affects your financial lifestyle today. So.
Right. So I mean, and then they do have to put rules on the transfer portal, I think. Right now it's still like the Wild West where they can transfer in middle of the season, before the end of the season, and it's like...
It's a typical thing. They'll poo-poo it until a major blow-up happened, and then they'll be like, oh, there's lawsuits, there's this, we gotta go fix these problems that we probably knew were problems, we just didn't address them.
Right, so, yeah, but they're still in the playoffs, despite the poor game plan going in. Miami's in the playoffs.
I wonder if it actually benefits them. I was thinking about that the other night because, do you want to play in one more game? Do you want to take a risk of other players getting injured? Yes, you do for the one seed in the bye, but I don't know, right? I don't know. I got to thinking about that. I'm like, you get an extra week.
Well, the way they shape up too, like let's just say Oregon loses or Georgia loses in these championship games that are above Ohio State. It changes the seeding, and then Ohio State ends up hosting a playoff game again, and you'll have Alabama go to like Ohio State or something, which benefits Ohio State because Alabama is a warm weather team, and it's going to be cold, and usually people who play in warm weather do not want to go and play in the snow or the rain or the sleet or weather, and it's going to be cold. It's December in Ohio, so
it's gonna be really cool. Like, instead of all the games being in warm weather bowl games, like, this is gonna make it like the regular season where you gotta suck it up and you'll play it.
Right. So I think it'll be good, and I think Ohio State will have a different game plan because they went into that game thinking, oh, we'll beat Michigan at Michigan's game. It's like, no, you're dynamic. You throw the ball. You've produced the best wide receivers in the country the last 4 seasons going into the NFL. You had Marvin Harrison, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I can't even remember the other one, but you have Jeremiah Smith, and you have Ibuka, who is he's gonna go first round as well. So, like, you throw the ball to these guys. They did that at the end of the first or the second quarter, where they scored and tied the game, and they moved the ball, and it was awesome. And then they came out and ran the ball into the teeth of the Michigan defense, which I was like, why are you doing that? And then you're setting up a 3rd and 11 or a 3rd and 9. Like, you should be using Henderson and as their run game as a screen. That they should just be your screen guys, because then they can get chunk plays, because then they're not in front of the line or whatever, or running into it, and they can maneuver. And it was just irritating. And the 2 missed field goals didn't help. Otherwise,
that's true. Yeah, that was daggers. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about
that. They were not far field goals. They were close and makeable, and he missed them.
That's true.
I mean, I think at that point, the anxiety that Ryan Day had went and bled over into the team, and they played tight instead of loose.
He's like, here we go again. Yeah.
They played, because I mean, the guy hadn't missed a field goal all season, and he missed 2 in the biggest game of his life.
And then your Canes, we already knew that they always play with fire because the defense is terrible. So as we discussed,
oh my God, they blew a 21-point lead. A 21-point lead, and then to lose it, I'm like, really? I was like, well, you're out.
Okay. All you have to do is win one more game. That's it.
Yeah.
One game.
All you have to do, and you played Syracuse, who wasn't, I was like, all right, cool, whatever.
Why I love out of any sport, at any time of the year, if I'm being honest, rivalry week is still probably my funnest favorite.
It is, and
literally
you throw the records out the window because it means nothing. These teams hate each other with a passion. I mean, look at the Georgia Tech game. That went into 8 overtimes. I felt bad for those kids. I was like, dude, these dudes are beat up and tired.
Absolutely. Gosh, that was a great game.
But that was a must-win for Georgia, or they may not have made the playoffs, because that would have been their 3rd loss. The only way they make it into the playoffs was losing in the SEC championship with a 3rd loss, because now you lost in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Versus the Georgia Tech, who was 5-4, something like that.
Yeah, that was a great game. And then Texas obviously took care of Texas A&M. So, it was a rivalry game. It was pretty close, but
Notre Dame was actually kind of close too. So, I mean, it was really good. UNLV blew out and I was happy about that. We kept the cannon.
Exactly.
Fight for.
Arizona State waxed Arizona. So, Oh yeah. Speaking of that, we don't have much time left, but it's like, man, how many games got ruckus after the game ended because people were planting flags at the 50-yard line? There was 5 games where.
Oh yeah, that was a big one. And I want to touch on that. All these Michigan players saying Ohio State doesn't know how to lose. I'm like, well, then you need to learn how to win. You wouldn't have liked it if exactly. Ohio State never planted, even though we kicked your ass in Michigan 59-20. Just 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't want to hear, oh, we own you. Go fuck yourselves with that, because out of the last 21 games, the record is 17-4. So don't sit there and say you own a program when you don't.
They're bringing her out. She's coming out.
And then sit there and say, oh, they're classless. They don't know how to lose. You know what? You wanted to pick a fight. They opted to fight. Then there was a fight, and then that's just how it goes. You're talking about high testosterone teenage boys, 19, 20-year-old. Yeah, they're going to fight. One wanted to pick a fight, and one said, all right, bring it. And you fought. End of story.
Yeah, that was so crazy, because literally it was FSU and Florida that happened, ASU and AU had happened, this game had happened.
Oh, and they fought Baker Mayfield when Oklahoma did it to Ohio State 7 years ago or whatever. And Nick Bosa still brings it up whenever he gets to sack Baker Mayfield or whatever. He does and he plants his flag on Baker Mayfield. I mean, it's fun. It's part of it. It does make you angry. It gets your blood boiling, but it was
boys
a
will be
shame
boys.
that fight happened at the end of the game, but
Yeah, don't be surprised if the other team doesn't get a little agitated about your actions. So I like it with you.
you want to rub it in, especially when this is the most heated rivalry in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, it goes back to the 1800s. It's ridiculous what it's over, and it's spilled over onto the football field, and it's just been terrible, and it's just heated. I mean, this is why those commercials where you had a girl in a Michigan shirt and a guy in an Ohio State shirt and they're making out, and then the slogan at the bottom was,
Yeah.
it's because of sports we know this is disgusting, because it is. You're like, no.
That's hilarious. All right, well, we got it right.
It's like an Auburn Tiger wanting to date an Alabama, whatever, elephant, whatever they are.
All right, my friend, well, we're running out of time, so looking forward to this week's games, and hopefully, although we basically picked two the same, so I only have a chance to improve on you for two different games. So I'm going to be rooting hard for the other two games so I can make up the difference with you.
All right, that's it, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
I like the Christmas tree in the background, good decor, so